Hello, my friends at WCReplays.com. This is Systemshark, returning to the audio commentating airwaves for at least this one AC, possibly more later. If you guys remember me from back a few months ago, I've kind of took a break from audio commentating. I was getting tired of it, and I actually was starting school, so I kind of wanted to focus on that a lot more than my AC-ing duties. I just said duty, so that's a good way to come back. What else? We ended up losing a few commentators, so I'm having to come back and fill some empty space. We will be looking for some more commentators in the near future. I got a few guys in mind already, so hopefully we'll be able to refill up the front page with new audio commentaries. But for now, I wanted to come back and start doing something different. You know me, I always like to come back and try new things. And since this hasn't been done before, I'd like to give it a shot. Maybe it's been done, it just hasn't been done this way. I'm going to be commentating on a free-for-all game. I've recently started getting interested in free-for-alls after taking breaks from Dota, and in between Dota games I play a free-for-all here and then. So I don't have a lot of games under my belt, but I do have a pretty basic understanding of how free-for-alls work, and I wanted to kind of do an audio commentary on it because that helps me learn and helps me get excited about the new game type. My goal in this is, if you haven't played free-for-all, is to give it a shot and to start watching the replays and maybe learn a little bit more about the players. I find it was really hard starting out watching free-for-all replays and understanding what was going on and trying to figure out how I could learn from those replays and bring it into my own game. So in this commentary, I'm going to try to teach you the basics of free-for-all, and then I'm going to try to find a new way of actually commentating on these replays. So if you saw the sync time from the front of the upload page, I want you guys to get up to the 15-minute mark. And just you can get there any way you want. Take your time getting there if you want, because I'm going to talk for a little while, but pause when you get at the 15-minute mark. I'm basically going to be doing this commentary in quarters, like a football game or something. I figure that these games are pretty long. They're as long as Dota games, if not longer in some cases. At least an hour long normally, or at least close to that. So in order to break up the game, I'm going to break it up into quarters and then discuss what happened in each quarter, commentate on it and figure out how to analyze it and kind of give you guys the tips and tricks and all that stuff that you guys need. So 15 minutes. There are 4 players in a free-for-all. If you haven't ever tried it, it's free-for-all is basically what it is. It's you versus 3 other players on usually a larger map. Lots of gold mines and usually unique hero choices too. You don't usually see the standard hero selections. It's a lot different than playing 1v1s. Free-for-all is a completely different mindset. You can do a lot more creative things with it, and there's a lot more to it than a lot more to the strategy element of it than, let's say, the micro element. I'd say 1v1s has a lot more micro intensive. If your micro is better than somebody, chances are you'll probably be able to win more often. And with free-for-alls, micros, it's important, but it's not as important as maybe strategy and resource management and some other things. People with superior micro get beat all the time in free-for-alls just because they don't either know the strategies or they hit at the wrong time and they hit the wrong person, or they make the wrong person mad, and they can lose just because they're pretty much overpowered by a larger army. The first thing that you want to notice in free-for-alls is you're going to expect to get to the late game in free-for-alls for the most part, unless you get hit really early. Free-for-alls are pretty late game intensive. There's going to be a lot of mines under control. There's a lot of resource management that you got to watch. And you're pretty much going to be up there with the 100-food army in the bigger fights and high-level heroes. So that's something to entertain yourself, too. I mean, you don't normally see high-level heroes in 1v1s. So now these ultimates that, you rarely get to see in 1v1s, they're used a lot of the time in free-for-all. So it's a new element to the game that I don't think a lot of people realize. And it's something that drew me to free-for-alls, because I'd like to actually start using some of the ultimates of some of my favorite heroes. Anyway, keep talking about this game specifically that we're watching. Actually, here, I'll talk a little bit more about the basics while you guys are getting synced up still. Again, you can be doing this at 2x or 8x, whatever you guys want. Just get to the 15-minute mark and pause it, because I'm going to go over what happened while you're watching this in a quick little excerpt before we unpause and go to the next quarter. And we'll really start watching it pretty much at the 45-minute mark in the fourth quarter, because that's when all the action really starts to happen. In this replay, and really in most of the replays I've watched, it's the end of the game that is really a lot more entertaining than watching the whole game itself. So if you know how long the game is, you can just fast forward up to the last quarter of it, and you can really start seeing the entertaining aspects of free-for-all, as opposed to watching the whole thing and droning on and being really boring. So resource management I wanted to make a note of. Since you're going to be mining from a lot of gold mines, usually 2 or more, you want to be able to make sure you don't go over 50 food for a good bit of the game. Usually the first 15 to 20 minutes or so, you don't see people really going above 50. And this is what they call hoarding, or just really it's a form of collecting your resources, so you don't have to lose them to upkeep. Within the 15-20 minute mark, you still have gold that's going to be mined from some of your expansions, and in order to capitalize on that, what you want to do is not break that 50 food and not go into the upkeep, the low upkeep on that. So make sure to watch your upkeep. Don't go into above 50 unless you're going to be fighting someone. Definitely don't go above 80 unless you're going to be in a big fight as well. So you got to kind of watch the upkeep marks. There's 50 and then there's 80. So once you break those two, you're up into high upkeep, and it can get into trouble if you're not careful. A lot of the times you'll see players kill their own units and cancel units that are being constructed in order to save their resources. If they're going to fight or if they're not going to fight, all that has to happen at the same time. If you know you're going to abandon ship and you're not going to make the fight, you don't want to be sitting in your base in a 100 food army, losing all your mine's resources while you make up your mine. So just cancel it, get down to 50, get down to below 80 if you're that high. There's different times when you want to be up different levels. Another big thing, this game wasn't played on a ladder. This was played on the FML, so all these players knew who they were fighting. When you play this on Battle.net, all your opponents' identities are concealed. You don't get to know their names. All you know is pretty much their race when you start off. You can't stats them or anything like that. So knowing your opponent is a big thing. I'll go into a little bit about this game because we're talking about knowing your opponent, and I want to kind of make a point about these players. This is from the FML, which is a free-for-all league, and these players are ranked relatively high. They're in the top 20, each of them, in this league, so they have a lot of points. The orange Night Elf player, Nublix, is ranked first in the league, so he's definitely the best player in the league. When you start this game and you know you're playing against Nublix, that's something to think about. You know you're playing against one of the top players in the league, or the top player in the league. Maybe you guys want to. That can affect your strategy and your alliances and that you make throughout the game. The Orc player is actually ranked second in this. The red Orc player named Enline, he's ranked 5th in the league currently. Pencil Warrior is the blue Undead player. He's ranked 7th, and Unholy, the purple Undead player, is ranked 14th. So he's actually in last place as far as you figure all the rankings of this game. So knowing your players, from the early stages of the game, you might want to consider making some temporary alliances with people to push out the hard hitters, so you don't have to fight them. If you know they're going to be tough late game, you don't really want to be up against them. So in this case, I think some of the players should have, once they found out where they were located at and doing this early game scouting, say, okay, well, we know where Nublix is at. Maybe we should team up and try to stop him from being able to hoard, stop him from being able to attack or get higher hero levels and things like that. Just kind of group up and make coordinated attacks for him. And you can do this in all chat. It doesn't even matter if Nublix knows about it, although he might try to say stuff to manipulate it, which is another big part of free-for-all, which I'll go over in a quick second here. You got to try to convince. Let's just go over it right now. Why not? Manipulation is a huge part of FFA, and I've tried playing in some of my FFA games not talking, and it's really hard to do that because then only your actions can speak for what you've done. What you say in all chat can influence the game a lot. So if you're being attacked by someone, this is a perfect instance of it. You can say in all chat that, hey, it's a good time to attack this person because he's on me right now. So that means his base is wide open, and that you can tell the other two players, where he and yourself is at. So they can make the decision whether or not they want to help you, or if they want to come in and finish you off, or if they want to attack the other person who might be stronger. So you can kind of form temporary alliances. Maybe if you're really close spawn to someone and there's a gold mine there that he would probably want, and you have more gold mines somewhere else that you can take, it might be a good idea just to say, hey, I know that you're mining there, but I'm okay with that. I know you're right next to my base with a mine, but I'm not going to take out that expansion. As long as we stay friends for this early part of the game, we can help each other out and be able to push the other two out of it, or heck, make all three of you guys an alliance to be able to take out the one really big powerhouse. Those are just different things you can do with manipulation.